In a quiet village, wrapped by lush green fields and narrow dirt paths, there lived an elderly woman named Safia. She was a little over 80, with silver hair tied neatly in a low bun and a smile that seemed untouched by time or sorrow. Her small mud-brick home rested beneath an old banyan tree whose roots curled into the earth like patient hands. Those who passed by often slowed their steps, puzzled by one thought: how could someone with so little carry such calm? In a world always wanting more, Sophia looked as if she had already found enough. Inside her home were only the essentials. 2 earthen water jars stood by the wall. A simple hearth waited quietly in one corner. A narrow wooden bed creaked gently whenever the evening breeze passed through the open window. Sophia lived alone. Her husband had passed away more than 3 decades earlier, and her only son had moved to a distant city for work and never truly returned. Letters had stopped long ago. Calls faded into silence. Villagers often whispered among themselves, "Poor Auntie Sophia, alone, forgotten, yet she smiles as if her heart carries no weight at all." They could not understand it. Some mistook her smile for denial. Others assumed age had softened her mind. But Sophia knew exactly what she was doing. That same summer, a young woman named Anaya, just over 20, arrived in the village to visit her grandmother. Anaya came from a busy city where noise never slept and expectations never rested. She had recently failed an important professional exam. A close friend had broken her trust. At home, she felt invisible, measured only by comparisons. Each evening, Anaya sat alone on the veranda, staring at nothing, asking the same question again and again: why does life feel so unfair to me? One morning, as she walked past the banyan tree, she noticed Sophia scattering leftover rice on the ground. Birds fluttered down eagerly. Sophia hummed an old melody under her breath, smiling at every passerby, even those who did not return it. There was no hurry in her movements, no complaint in her face. Anaya slowed her steps. Something about that peace felt unfamiliar, almost impossible. And yet, she found herself watching the same scene every day, drawn by a calm she did not yet understand. After several days, curiosity overcame hesitation. One quiet evening, when the sun softened and shadows grew long, Anaya approached the banyan tree. "Grandmother," she said gently, "may I sit with you for a while?" Sophia's face brightened instantly. "Of course, dear," she replied. "This tree gives the kindest shade at this hour." They sat in silence for a moment, listening to leaves rustle and birds settle for the night. Then Anaya spoke, her voice trembling slightly. "You have lived through so much. You are alone, yet you smile as if your heart has never broken." How Sophia chuckled softly. "Child, I was not born with this smile. It arrived after many storms. Would you like to hear my story?" Anaya nodded, her eyes wide and attentive. "When I was young," Sophia began, "I married a kind man. We had little money, but plenty of love. Our son was our greatest joy. Then, one winter, my husband fell ill. There was no clinic nearby, and I had no savings for treatment. He died in my arms, whispering that I must stay strong." Her voice remained steady, though her eyes drifted into memory. "For a long time, I wanted to leave this world with him, but I stayed because a child needed me. I cleaned homes, washed clothes, and begged when I had no other choice. Every day, I chose survival. Years passed. Her son grew up, studied, and found work in the city. One day, he left with promises to return. At first, there were letters, then fewer, then none at all. Anaya's breath caught. You never went to find him. I did once, Safia said quietly. I stood across the road from his apartment. He had a new life, new responsibilities. I realized then that sometimes love means letting go with dignity. Tears filled Anaya's eyes. Did you never feel angry, lonely, betrayed? Safia smiled, the same gentle smile. I did, for a long time, until I discovered 3 truths that saved me. She raised her fingers slowly. First, accept what you cannot change. I cannot force someone to remember me, but I can refuse to let bitterness poison my days. I chose peace over pain. She lifted a second finger. Second, be grateful for what remains. I may not have wealth, but I have this tree, these birds, the open sky, and a heart that still feels. Gratitude is not for the rich, it is for the aware. Then the third. Third, give more than you take. I feed birds, guide children with their studies, and share herbs with the sick. Giving reminds me that I still matter. Anaya sat quietly, as if something heavy inside her chest had begun to loosen. The sun dipped behind the fields. Birds fluttered home. For the first time in many weeks, Anaya smiled, not out of habit, but relief. Thank you, she whispered, holding Safia's hand. You healed something inside me tonight. They sat beneath the stars, sharing stories, laughter, and tears, until the night grew deep. When Anaya returned to the city, days later, her struggles had not disappeared. The world had not softened overnight, but something within her had shifted. She began each morning by naming small things she was grateful for. She stopped chasing those who walked away. She started helping people who silently struggled, just as she once had. She learned that happiness was not the absence of pain, but the presence of purpose. Tonight, pause for a moment. Take one slow breath. Name one thing you cannot change, and gently release it. Name one small thing you still have, and feel gratitude for it. Then think of one simple act of giving you can do tomorrow. No matter how small, a kind word, a shared meal, a listening ear. Let these 3 steps guide you back to yourself. Safia's life teaches us that peace is not gifted by perfect circumstances. It is built slowly through acceptance, gratitude, and kindness, even when we are hurting. We often wait for life to improve before allowing ourselves to smile. But sometimes life improves because we choose to smile. Peace grows when we stop resisting life. If this story touched you, take a moment to like, share, and subscribe, and carry this lesson with you into your day.